Hey guys, it's me Charlie. Today I'm going to be making some chicken tenders, very similar to, I guess, Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's going to be a little bit different. There's actually a deli store nearby that actually makes it really good, and it has a very nice colorful crust. What makes the crust colorful is probably the chili powder and also some pepper. So what you'll need for this is some lemon juice or lime juice or even vinegar, some grounded up cumin, oregano, salt and pepper, chili powder, some flakes, whatever chili flakes you like. Without the seed is a little bit less hot, with the seed is hot. Some cornstarch, and I forgot to get the flour, but you also need some flour. So all of this, I'm going to show you how I do my chicken tenders and how I fry them up and how they end up looking, which they'll look really good and very, very, very flavorful. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to do is chop up our chicken breasts. I'm going to cut this sideways. This is semi-frozen, so it'll be a little bit more easier to cut. You want to be really careful not to cut yourself in this process. And a little hard to cut right now. I'm going to try to hold it on top a little. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want quite a few pieces, and this breast is a little bit too thick. There we go. And it's frozen in the inside a little bit. Alright, so I've got to decide if I'm going to leave these whole or if I'm going to cut them up into pieces. I think what I'm going to do is I'll leave them whole. So let me do the next one. Now this one is not as big. This piece is going to be a little small. There we go. You guys hear my parrot in the background saying coochie 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 coochie? Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and add some seasoning. So let me take away my cutting board here. And the first thing I'm going to add is some lemon juice. And you can use any kind of lemon, fresh lemons, bottled juice. I'm adding a couple of tablespoons because I want this to marinate really nicely with the lemon juice. The next thing is I want to see the amount of pepper I put in. So I'm going to put some pepper, my favorite pepper shaker. Can you guys hear my parrot in the background? He's so funny. He talks a lot. He says all kinds of things. Keeps me very entertained. Hopefully it's picking up what he's saying in the background and me just not laughing at myself. Alright, so this is looking fine. Alright, the next thing I want to do is add salt. And the reason why I'm adding the salt is because I want this to marinate really well, because sometimes if you ever have a piece of fried chicken and the seasoning is absolutely delicious, and then all of a sudden as you're biting into the breast meat or the thigh or whatever, it is got no seasoning on it, no flavor. So you want to put a good amount of salt in there to taste. Alright, the next thing I like to put in is either the oregano or the cumin. And this is grounded up cumin that I'm going to be using. Oops. And I love the smell of cumin. Now again with this, it's to taste, so I'm probably going to add, it's probably going to be a whole teaspoon. Alright. Next ingredient, oregano. Same thing with this, half a teaspoon, maybe a little, maybe about a fourth of a teaspoon. I want a good amount, but I don't want too much. Alright. Now, let's add some of the chili seed here. Now you want to add this now because you want this to rehydrate as it's marinating. If you shake it a little bit, if it's a little container like this, you'll get mostly, let's see if we can, you'll get mostly the flakes. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the part I really want to use. I don't want to use the seed. And shake, shake, shake. I don't want too much seed because I think it's just too much. Too much heat. Doesn't that look good? My parrot's making me laugh. Next, next ingredient is chili powder. Now with the chili powder, I add a lot. So I would say add about a tablespoon. This is the main ingredient. Alright, so now I'm going to mix this together. I'm using one hand to do all this because I don't need to dirty both hands. But because I'm right by the sink, I'm also washing my hands a little bit. You hear my birdie saying, "Hey girl." Alright, so with this, you want to let it sit for probably 15-20 minutes. Let it do its thing. And then from there, you're going to want to add the cornstarch and the flour. And you probably want to add about a half a cup of flour and a half a cup of cornstarch. And this is 2 large breasts that I got from Foster Farms. The breasts are oversized, so they're really big. This weighs probably 2 pounds, so it's probably about 2 pounds of meat. Just get 2 large breasts and cut them in half, and then that's what you should get. So let this marinate for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and I'll add the cornstarch and flour, and then we'll let that sit for another 15 minutes, and then we'll start frying it. Alright, so I'm going to now go ahead and add my cornstarch, and I'm going to add about a half a cup. The cornstarch is actually going to give it a little bit of its crispiness when you're frying it up. So make sure that you mix this in very well. And then after this is all mixed, you'll notice that it'll be kind of pasty and gooey. And then that's when you can go ahead and add your flour. You can start to see it beginning to get pasty. You want to coat this really well because you want it to be a nice crispy chicken tender. With all the little juice that's on the bottom, it's really good. Matter of fact, if you have any leftover batter, it is so tasty when you put it in the pan. Alright. Now as you can see, the batter is going to be a nice dark color because it's got all that chili powder in there. Alright, now the next thing to do is to add your half a cup of flour. And this will now stick very well to your cornstarch coating that you put on here. And the cornstarch actually picked up a lot of color. So now that you're putting your flour in here, it's going to do the same thing. Now to your flour, you can add some salt and pepper. But this has quite a bit, salt and pepper. But depends on you. Alright, so I'm just going to let this sit for a little bit. I'm going to wait till the white flour has actually kind of turned a little bit tan. And then I'm going to go ahead and pan fry this. Alright, now it's time to go ahead and fry this up. So you'll notice here that everything looks well coated. And earlier, before I made this video, I had fried some up earlier. So you'll notice that my pan has already looked like it's been used, and I added some more grease. So on high heat, you want to go ahead and add your chicken tenders here. It's so hard to do this with one hand. It's a good idea to put a good amount, and also move this as it's cooking. You don't want it to stick because otherwise the crust will come off. That's the best part. Let me change hands. So a good idea is to kind of slide it around as you're placing it in here, especially your first one. Lift it, let some go underneath, and I'm going to try to make room for one more, even though you don't want to crowd your pan, but I just don't want to sit here and cook another fillet. So I got one more left. Whoopsie. And there we go. So I have to put this on high because otherwise it'll just turn into a big moistened pot. Alright. So once this is almost done frying up, I'm going to go ahead and show you how it looks at the end. And there we go, all finished. This process took about 25 minutes, and since these are good-sized chicken breasts, look at that, so pretty. But since these are good-sized chicken breasts, it took about 25 minutes on high heat. And just to give you an example of how crispy this is, these are the little pieces that fell off. You can see here, it's just a little skin. Listen to how crispy. Very, very good. That came out really good. Oh, very tasty. You can taste the spices. Absolutely delicious. That came out so good. So you guys should try out that recipe. It's actually very tasty. And if you guys have any comments, any questions, leave a comment below. Don't forget to rate the video. And don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Give me another one of these. Where is it? Look at that piece. Very good.